Hey everyone, how's it going today? And welcome back to a third stimulus check and third stimulus package unemployment benefits extension update, and hope everyone is doing safe and well, and hopefully also staying warm, especially if you are from the Northeast or something in the north and it's a blizzard. Feel free to comment what it's like currently in your state. As you guys know, outside of my window it's basically just white right now. But we do have relatively really great news and breaking news to share, which is that they've now officially decided that they are now going to be moving forward with the $1.9 trillion stimulus package, basically the bigger one. In the last episode, I talked a little bit, and feel free to check that if you guys are interested, a little bit about how the GOP Republicans did write their own package. It would have been better if they were able to create some kind of compromise, because then they would have been able to go through without the reconciliation. Sadly, though, a lot of the Republicans, I think they're not really in approval of it. There are still many Republicans that are actually very much against the third stimulus package, certainly the one that's currently on the table. But the bright news is that it doesn't really matter, thanks to every single person who's in Georgia. So maybe shout out if you guys are in Georgia, feel free to comment, because now that the Senate has officially flipped, they've now officially decided that they actually have confirmed that they will be going through with the reconciliation process, and they've actually already started to roll out the process. So that is the really great news. They are now taking the $1.9 trillion and starting to go through. Now, it hasn't officially been approved yet. They still do have to vote for it. We're going to talk a little bit about where we currently stand in terms of the negotiation process. However, the great news is that it is looking very promising, and it's starting to get moving, and it's looking very likely. But we're going to talk all about that in today's video, so definitely stay tuned and watch through for that. There is also some recently new details that's not been made official, but speculation that it's something that they might even add to the unemployment program that's going to potentially save a lot of people. Let's just say something in like the couple $1,000s range. We're going to talk a little bit about what that is towards the end of the video, so definitely stay tuned for that. It's not an official thing yet, but there is speculation about that. Hopefully everyone is doing well, safe and well. But before we begin, make sure you smash the like button. In light of this really great news, consider subscribing and hitting the bell notification button to get future updates on stimulus, unemployment, and other finance investing topics. And feel free to comment any questions, thoughts about honestly just really anything at all. Maybe what the blizzard situation is like there, because obviously it's been kind of crazy, and I heard we're going to get another blizzard. Supposedly there's going to be another one coming soon, but of course only time can tell. So with that being said, let's get started. So the great news to start off with in terms of where we stand is that yesterday they did recently vote on the budget, because keep in mind is that to get the third stimulus package happening, they have to basically start by actually passing the budget to physically have the money to fund the particular package, and then they have to approve the actual package itself. I believe they finally did approve the funding both inside of the Senate and the House, and I believe actually in the Senate specifically, none of the Republicans voted in favor of it. So I mean, this really gives you guys perspective. But the great news is that it doesn't really matter, because now that the Democrats control the House and the Senate, it does mean that they basically have the power to kind of call the shots right there, with the assumption that they do go through with reconciliation, which, as we've mentioned, is that they officially did state that they were now officially going to go through with it. Now, keep in mind is that they still do have to vote for the actual stimulus package. At this current time, the general idea is that if every single Democrat votes in favor of it, even if none of the Republicans vote in favor of it, exactly like what happened with the budget bill, none of the Republicans sadly voted in favor of it, it can still officially go through. I think the only semi-potential obstacle that might potentially happen right now is that Joe Manchin, who is a Democrat, he's the only Democrat, I think, who's kind of a little bit on the edge of doing the third stimulus package. So I think the general idea is that he's the only one that's kind of still hesitant. But I do believe is that most of the Democrats are really going to be trying to convince him. And I mean, on a reputation side, you can only imagine how it's going to look if like everyone on your team kind of votes in favor of something, and then there's just that one person who's kind of just not in approval of it. On a reputation side, especially because almost every single person that represents us was voted in, it probably is going to impact image on the image side perspective, but we don't know what's going to happen, so that's something that only time is of course going to have to tell. Now, I think right now is that we don't have the actual official verbal text of the package. It exists, but it just hasn't been released to the public. It may even still be tweaked for all we know, because again, keep in mind it still has to go through the voting process, but it exists. It hasn't been released to the public, but I think right now where we currently stand is that we at least know the general outline. That package is going to be the $1,400 stimulus check, so plus the $600 down payment would be a $2,000 stimulus check. So thankfully, it is going to be a lot larger compared to the $1,000 stimulus check that the Republicans tried to push, that I kind of mentioned in the last video. Feel free to consider checking that out. But it is, of course, going to be smaller than the $2,000, as in like the full $2,000 plus $600, so $2,600 stimulus. But on a brighter news is that on the unemployment side is that they are planning to keep the $400 unemployment the way it is all the way until September. I think right now at this time they're also going to extend both the PUA and the PUC until September. So basically every unemployment program, if this thing officially approves, is going to be extended into the end of September 2021. Both the unemployment, whether this is PUA, PUC, FedEd is a little bit different, EB is a little bit different, but you probably don't have to get on to FedEd or EB if they already approve the PUC anyway, because the PUC comes before the FedEd and the EB, but the general idea is that they would take it, and the $400 boost would apply to basically every single person regardless of your unemployment program. And then on to the other potentially brighter news. This part is not official yet, but they have actually already had some kind of speculation that they maybe will include it. We don't know yet, it's not official, but there's speculation that they may actually even include doing some kind of tax cut actually for anyone that's currently on unemployment. The long story short is that they're going to potentially take out, so you guys don't have to pay up to $12,000 worth of taxes on your unemployment from last year, so 2020. This would be pretty major and insane, because in a lot of cases, I think, depending on your state and your background, I think most people are probably going to have to pay somewhere between about 25 to 35% in taxes. That's the typical range. It kind of depends on the individual, circumstance. But if that really does become the case, if you guys were someone that was going to make, like, let's say 10, I think most people, if you've been on unemployment since like March 2020 during the lockdown, you probably have already collected at least $10,000 in unemployment. So if they are able to carry through with the tax cut, we could be talking about a couple $1,000s saved. But of course, it's not official yet. It's just a thought. But if they are able to do this, it would be major. And I think at this time there's also talks about trying to raise the minimum wage or do student loan forbearance. I think that part is not looking likely. The student forbearance and the minimum wage part isn't looking likely, but of course we'll have to wait for the official bill to finally find out the details of what's going to officially be in it. So with that being said, that's basically what we currently know in terms of the world of third stimulus and the $400 unemployment benefits. We just of course have to wait for more details and see how the voting goes through, because it's not officially approved. They approved the budget. Thankfully, the budget's been approved. They haven't approved the stimulus package, but it is looking promising, but we'll know for sure in the next couple of days. But the bright news is, at least we know, is that they're moving forward. They're going on to the next steps now, and I think there is a little bit of a time urgency also. So that is the really great news, since they want to move on to other plans like Trump's impeachment. But we're going to know a lot more details about that, so definitely consider subscribing and hitting the bell if you guys are brand new here to join in. Remember to smash the like button if you guys hopefully found something insightful. And again, feel free to comment any questions, thoughts about really anything at all, maybe what you think is going to officially go through, whether or not you've received. I think most people have received stimulus, but there are still some people that are waiting for stimulus and unemployment, so just know that there's still people with you if you currently are still waiting. But with that being said, that's what I really wanted to share. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay well, stay warm, and hope to see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much again.